What's going on, everybody? Hope you're having a great day, and if not, I hope today gets better. I want to start off this video and say thank you for the overwhelming support that I have gotten over the past few days on my previous video. Only in like 3 days, it went up to 250 views, and I got up to 55 subscribers now, so honestly, thank you guys. That has made me feel super blessed. I'm pretty sure I don't have to explain that when you work on something so hard and you see it pay off in a really good way, that actually really means a lot. So again, thank you very much. I really feel humbled. Now let's go ahead and move on from my self-ego boost into today's video. So in a couple months, I will be moving out with my roommates again, and we are going to be getting a new place that's going to be a little bit bigger. So I'm actually, excited for it and excited for the new changes that will even come for the channel with it. But before I moved in here, though, I wish there were a few things that I would have known before I would have got settled in, or at least would have put into play before I would have made the transition from my parents' house into here. So in today's video, I went ahead and made another 3 categories that I want to break down that we'll be discussing over moving out on your own. And these 3 categories are: 1, keeping financially stable; 2, choosing the right location; and 3, moving in with friends. So like in every video, I'm going to go ahead and break those down, and hopefully you might be able to find the secret Krabby Patty formula that will give you some sort of insight on your day-to-day life. Starting off with number 1, keeping financially stable. So I know that everybody, including myself, fears moving out for the first time because they are afraid that they can't afford everything all at once, which is mostly true for the common person, unless you are Daddy Big Bucks. However, what I've learned is that it all comes down to how you manage your resources and your savings. Like how much money I'm putting into my utilities, how much money I'm putting into the gas, how much money am I putting into my food, things of that nature. You want to know exactly how much you are spending in your day-to-day life, because these things will become crucial, and you don't want to follow into a situation where you're blindly spending into things, or worse, like me, getting into some sort of subscription that you don't want to be put into, and unfortunately you forgot to unsubscribe to it. And I mean, granted, that's such a niche thing, that just might be me, but hey, who knows, right? So one thing I like to try to do is I like to try to make a mental list, or even a physical list, of what I'm going to need until my next paycheck. So basically, after I pay my bills, I have a set category of money that I will only put aside for me for things of like gas, food, and maybe a little bit over for play money. Say like if I want to go out with my girlfriend somewhere, maybe go, get some new clothes or something. I'll give myself a little bit of money for that, but mainly focusing on all my priorities and all my bills. So please, if anything, take this from my video, just please save up before you start buying anything crucial, because you do not want to buy something that you genuinely don't need and you've already paid a lot of money for. I know that is, very much self-said. You don't need me to say it, but I mean, again, you would be surprised on how many people fall into this trap. Trust me, save before you buy anything crazy. And another thing that I tend to see too, and this was especially big for me in the beginning parts of moving out, was asking for help when I actually needed it, but I felt that I needed to learn on my own or fight, in my own way, which there is something honorable in that, but do be willing to ask for help if you really do need it. Do not by any means put yourself in any kind of financial stress or predicament of any kind, because you do not want to have to pay those, repercussions. I don't know how to say that. You don't want to have to pay those off later. Now, do keep this in mind. If you are going to ask for financial help from people, you do need to pay that back. You do need to try to keep a reliable reputation when it comes to borrowing these things, because believe it or not, people will eventually stop helping you out. So do try your best to keep a good reputation with people and by paying them back, because you do not want to get into any kind of risky habits or a bad reputation of borrowing money from some people and never giving that back. So do pay off what you were loaned and just move on. And I promise you, in some form of way, rather if you believe in luck or not, I do think that good things do come to you when you are honest and true to your word. Now moving on to number 2, choosing the right location. Now, beggars can't be choosers, but I do find that it is very important that not only you, but even with your roommates as well, that you all find a place that you find comfortable and that you can afford and that you do feel safe at. This isn't me saying trying to avoid the ghetto. I'm not getting into that at all. What I'm trying to say is find something that you can comfortably live in and afford. Do not go for what's extravagant and crazy, because I promise you, rent is rent no matter where you are. People are people no matter where you are. Bills are bills no matter where you are. So rather if you're in the hood or in the most extravagant lifestyle, it's all the same. So find something that you can live in within your comfortability, and you do not go beyond your means unless you feel that you're able to. You know, a good little motto that I always like to think of is extra is only extra. So you do not necessarily need it unless you want it. So if you can afford it, great. By all means, do your thing. But if you feel like you're going to have to struggle and fight your way through just to have an extra room or two, I would possibly think about maybe finding another way of going about that. Also, before you settle into moving into anywhere, please do your research. You know, figure out if there's any schools that are nearby, or figure out if there's any, you know, stores that you need nearby, because this is going to be a very big factor in rather if this is going to be a good place to live. You know, if you have kids, you want to have a good school system. If if you're going to be out buying groceries and getting gas and food and all that stuff, you want to live in a place where you have all these things accessible. Now, granted, I know that sounds, common sense, right? Well, again, you would be surprised on how many people actually don't do this. Now, this is just a random fact, but I do see this a lot as well. Usually when people move out for the first time, they always want to get like a dozen animals or so. And what's funny too is they always talk about getting animals before they even talk about getting any kind of furniture. You know, usually I always hear people say, when I move out, I'm getting a cat. When I move out, I'm getting a dog. When I move out, I'm getting 3 lizards and naming them Jorge. Okay, well, that part was probably just a niche for me. But this plays into what I say about researching your area and researching the place you're about to move into, because pet policies and these types of things are actually, very crazy for what I found out. That, you can't just simply have a dog, or you can just simply have a cat. There are height requirements. There are breed requirements. I genuinely believe that, all dogs are good no matter what kind of breed they are. It always depends on the owner. But, unfortunately, apartments don't really see it that way. And, unfortunately, I had to see too many friends give up a lot of their animals because they had lived in a place where they couldn't have a dog that was, over 60 pounds or something. It's unfortunate, but these things do happen every day. So I can't stress this enough. Do your research before you make the move. Now, finally, on to number 3, moving in with friends. So like most situations, usually people will move in with their friends or even their family members for the first time, and that's definitely recommended. It's really hard to move in on your own for the first time and having to manage all those bills. So if you can have someone to move in with, great. Definitely do that, and trying to find ways to manage that relationship as much as possible. However, do choose the right sort of people to move in with. Now, I'm not going to make another lecture telling you to choose your right friends or the right circle in your life. However, though, sometimes having that friend that you knew from first grade as your roommate really won't end up as well as you think it will. Now, I'm not going to tell you to be judging or being towards people, but do look into what people have to offer you, especially when it comes to being your roommate. Ask yourself, what kind of job do they have? How long have they been there? Can they cover the half that's needed to pay the rent and bills? And again, these are not questions to judge someone or to mistreat someone in any way, but these are very smart questions you want to ask yourself when you are going to move in with someone. Even the bestest of friends can fall apart, once they finally move in together, because usually what can happen is someone will, have a hard time paying the other side of the rent than the other one does, and that can tend to usually have a lot of financial issues between both of them, and, that does ruin friendships and causes a lot of mistrust. So I can't stress this enough. Do choose the right sort of people. Look into your inner circle. It's not judging. It's just playing it safe and being smart for your own sake. Another thing to think about too is that when you move in with someone, a lot of the times it can be very challenging because you have to deal with someone else's space and you have to find a way to work in a common ground. I highly recommend having roommate meetings with everyone, because I feel that if you sit with people and you really talk about what you would like to see done around the house and what would make you feel more comfortable, but not only just you, but would make everyone feel more comfortable. I think if everyone sits down and has these conversations and no one's pointing fingers saying you don't do this, you don't do that, but I think typically you can find that people are going to be willing to listen and try to do their best to work in a more positive way, instead of everyone coming at each other's throats feeling like they're being attacked when they're at their home, and whatever the case is. This is coming from personal experience. I just would recommend this to anybody who's moving in with their friends. And also be willing to make compromises too, because you don't want to be the one person that feels like the dictator in the in the household, because it's not really just your way. When you have multiple people living with you and everyone's paying their side of the rent and bills, you have to make a unanimous decision with everyone. You cannot, just be the sole decider on everything. So make sure everything's cool with everyone, and then you can go forth and do whatever you need to do. All right, guys, that's going to be it for today's video. And again, just wanted to say thank you guys for the overwhelming support on my last video. I know some people might be like, well, it's only 250 views. That's, not a big number. Dude, that's a big number to me, so you shut your mouth. And also getting up to 55 subscribers when I was at 48 from making that video was really cool to see. So yeah, thank you so much. And I would also like to thank everyone who was giving me advice on how to improve my videos. I take all the advice that I can, and I also take it all into consideration and really look at it thoroughly and see if it really fits in my vibe with the videos. So I am all for your guys' feedback and what you guys would think make my videos better, or what you guys would rather watch than me just ramble on. See, I'm already tripping over my words. I also wanted to let you guys know that I started making shorts out of my videos. It's definitely have brought a little boost to my channel as well, so I'm definitely going to keep doing that moving forward. And I will be having those shorts on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, which will be the best place if you want to go to watch those, or if you just want to talk to me one-on-one in person. I'll leave the links below. But thank you guys for watching, and let me know in the comments down below what it was like when you first moved out. I'm actually really curious to know what that was like. I love the stories. But all right, guys, I'm out of here. Have a good one.